You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast with Sinan Schwarting and Kaan Bayazit.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Orada Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru aksiyon kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol. Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Zuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 102 of Beşiktaş International's The Black Eagles podcast. I am your host, Sinan Schwarting, live from New York City. And with me today is our prodigal co-host himself, Evran coming in from upstate New York. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Okay. Okay. There's not a whole lot of positivity on the Beşiktaş front at the moment. After let's not spoil anything, but yeah, otherwise fine, But so yeah, we're a little late this week. Kaan and I were sort of trying to arrange things here and there, back and forth, and then in the end, we decided to go ahead with Evran so we could just get this thing out. We're coming up on the upcoming match against Trabzonspor already, so we want to get this one going. So let's talk a little bit about Başakşehir, or I.B.B. as I like to call them, and what was probably nobody's favorite match of the season. I'm going to just go out on a limb and guess. But so we were on the road. We have a track record of not performing particularly well on the road against these fellas for some reason. Even though they have 7 fans, you could probably count all their fans in their hands. But yeah, let's see. Lineup-wise, we had Karius in the goal, Ruiz and Vida on the back line. I guess the big surprise was Jermaine Lens was starting in right back. Of course, Gökhan Gönül was suspended, so we knew there was going to have to be some, solution for whatever, for that issue there. But that was a little outside of the box. Caner Erkin played on the left side of the defense. El Neni and I.B.B played on the back of the midfield, with Boateng in the number 10 role, replacing Ljajic. Diaby and Nkudu were on the wings, and Burak Yilmaz was up front as per usual. I guess I'll mention that for Başakşehir we saw Demba up front in a 2-striker formation with Crivelli playing up front as well, and Mahmut Pekmir and İrfan Kahveci in the sort of center of their midfield. To be honest, a pair of central midfielders that I'm slightly jealous of. I'm going to keep it real. Besides that, Elia started on their wing, which is not in every match thing, I don't think. But anyway, I don't really want to talk about their whole lineup. What were you thinking, Evran, coming into this match? I know Kaan and I were already on the record for what we were hoping and everything. How about you? Did you think this was going to be a really important match? Did you think it was a must-win? Did you expect us to get something from it?
I think we had a decent chance going into the game. I liked the 11 overall. I thought Lens at right back made more sense than whoever else he would have tried, Necip or something, because Douglas wasn't even in the squad.
And I'll say, without spoiling the whole match, that what we didn't lose because of him there, and he even showed in some of our better moments a little bit of he had some positives, I think, in that role.
And he filled in there once or twice as a substitute under Şenol Güneş. So it wasn't the first time we've ever seen it before. I didn't really want El Neni to play over Ljajic, but other than that, I wasn't too bothered, and I'd rather Diaby didn't start.
And you mean, I suppose, you don't mean literally El Neni for Ljajic. You mean playing Prince Boateng?
Someone else playing.
Boateng moving back into that central midfield role, and then Ljajic. Yeah, which I agree. I totally. I mean, ideally, but I get it because it's Başakşehir and we're on the road and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we're a little shaky, I think, and we had one good result that we were on the back of, honestly, but. You know, this match and the upcoming one against Trabzon, I think you can forgive a little bit of conservatism, especially just also because Sergen Yalçın's new on the job. He hasn't, you know, if the style he's gonna develop is a bit more aggressive and attacking and dynamic, that's great. But you can kind of forgive him if he's not quite there yet. I think, given this was his third match in charge. But yeah, so I think that's plenty of introduction for the match.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what happened in this sucker. The first half was nervy. Boateng got a yellow card. Mahmout and Kriveli also got yellow cards for Başakşehir. What were the big moments in the first half, as you recall?
It was a while ago, but I remember overall Beşiktaş played better. They were the more attacking team, looking to attack. There's a couple half chances from outside the box. And I believe it was in this half, or was it in the second half, I don't remember, but there was one big chance for Kevin Prince Boateng on an early cross from John, and it just slid under his foot. Which was probably our best chance of the game. I can find the exact minute it happened, but...
Yeah, I remember that one.
The 39th minute, that was probably the best chance of the game.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of referee questionable calls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I never really like talking about the refs too much. They always sort of suck. That's almost like you have to almost expect it. It's like, you know, if you live in London, you have to expect it to rain a lot, you know? If you play football in Turkey, you have to expect crappy refereeing. But maybe Seattle would be more of a U.S. specific example, or the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, I mean, the first half, I definitely distinctly felt that we played fairly well. I remember in the group chat lots of chatter and complaints, but me generally feeling like we were holding fairly well. We were moving the ball around the pitch. You know, we weren't finding anything up front. I don't like complaining about Burak Yilmaz because I went on the record as complaining about the signing and then kind of had to put my foot in my mouth after how he played last season. So I don't want to do this whole I want him to do well, and I hope he can. He's had obviously even this season, some good performances, but he was a bit of a dud in this match. I don't know what's going on with that. Like the game before, he was, I think Khan had even named him the man of the match. So to come off of that performance with such a poor one is obviously not so good. Not so good, but yeah, that was it for the first half. No goals, nothing much to speak of besides a bunch of yellows. And in that regard, we were winning as well with only 1 to their 2. But right out of the gates in the second
game,
half,
it wasn't too bad, but
yeah, especially I guess given that it was an away game. But it would sort of all fall apart in the second half. 50th minute, very coolly, I will add, I.B.B puts away a goal on a counter. Edin Visca sets it up pretty nicely for Demba, and just a kind of classic I.B.B goal, slaps it in perfectly. A kind of little looper around the keeper, just what he always did for us. You can't say enough about the guy. He celebrated.
He's a striker I wanted. That's all I'm gonna say.
We'll get there.
Back when we got Wagner Love.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly like that. I've always said actually, in fact, that Negredo was the real bad first move even before Wagner Love. But I think I.B.B would have actually cost a little bit of something still by then. possibly, because I think he was on contract with his Chinese team.
No, he went to Göztepe for free.
But when we got Negredo?
No, oh yeah, for Negredo, yeah. I meant for
Yeah, no, for Wagner Love, then yes, that's
Love,
when it's
yeah.
a lock. Absolutely, I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that even when we got Negredo, if we could have gotten Demba Ba,
Oh yeah.
but I think that might.
I think he had a
been,
broken leg at that point, to be honest.
even still, man, fucking like come recover. And,
Göztepe that was his first game back from his broken leg was Göztepe.
yeah, well, I think there's something we're not accounting for. Yeah, you're definitely right. Well, I mean, whatever. Anyway, point being,
Off track.
yeah, Demba Ba should always be a Beşiktaş player. But so yeah, 50th minute, he puts Başakşehir in the lead. I gotta say that for everything that we could say about the performance, I didn't feel the team like panicked, which is a positive actually. I think we had a game plan and we sort of stuck to it.
But at the same time, it wasn't as good. They definitely, I feel like they were more willing to take risks in possession, especially the players that tend to be scared, like El Neni. Kind of fell back into that shell where they would, no more passing forward, just keep the ball. But
well, see, I don't know what your take for the whole match will be, but I definitely remember you saying maybe around halftime that El Neni was probably the best player for the team.
Yeah, I liked him in the first half. Second half, he wasn't like awful, but when things started to when we needed the goal, someone had to show some, offensive impetus, and Atiba wasn't at his best at all. And there were several times where El Neni would get the ball in a good position. He'd either pass it laterally or turn around. He would never drive the ball. I think if Dorukhan was playing.
Yeah, this would have been a good match for Dorukhan for sure.
Yeah, those positions El Neni got into, I would say 5 times. I guarantee you Dorukhan scores at least once.
I
no
totally
doubt
agree.
in my mind.
100%. That's a good call.
El Neni doesn't have that. He had two shooting chances where he shot the ball. One he completely shanked. One was a decent save. Then he had 2 to 3 other times where he could have done something and driven forward, and he chose for the safe option.
Yeah,
so
that's
my problem with him for the 15 million euro buyout clause type guy.
Yeah, well, that's not happening.
I would expect more than that.
That's not happening. But yeah, and to piggyback on a point you also made, you're on fire today, Evran. You keep saying the stuff I want to say, so I'm like, damn. Well, now what the hell do I say? But for sure, Atiba. For all of the fantastic performances that we didn't expect all season, given his age and everything, this was definitely a match where things were not coming together for him. It was not one of his better performances.
He would do well, and then the final pass was just never there.
Exactly. Yeah, he would intercept the ball really well and take a couple dribbles and then do something kind of goofy. But we have to say that's the exception to the rule, at least for this season, and for obviously his whole career with Beşiktaş. But so yeah, just a bad game. It happened. 69th minute. See, now this, I've heard our resident twins, Scottish twins, say that Sergen Yalçın's subs come in a little late. I don't hate it. It seems tactical. It seems like he wants to see if there'll be a response to sort of a little bit of, hardship or whatever it is. So he deliberately waits till about the 65th, 70th minute. I think that is a tactic. You could defend. But this time, which has been an exception.
Yeah.
I feel like
he always, I'm not going to say he waits way, way, way too long, but I would prefer to see subs sometimes 5 to 10 minutes earlier.
Well, see, I think if you're going to wait till the 69th minute, then you do 2 subs, and it's a major tactical shift. You realize definitely to make 1 sub in the 69th minute and the second sub, not even until the 75th minute, that's a little bit of a slow reaction for sure. But anyway. Where was I? So yeah, Ljajic comes on for Diaby here, and so for me, it's even if the sub, in my opinion, isn't necessarily too late. It's just the 1 sub; it's not enough of a reaction, and B, that's not the right sub at all. Diaby wasn't having his worst match. I agree with you that I don't necessarily want to see him starting in that position, but with that said, he was actually kind of playing sort of decently, honestly, I thought, in that first half especially. But to bring in Ljajic for him, I thought for sure you would take out I.B.B, since he was definitely the less properly functioning of the two central midfielders or defensive midfielders as it is, and you definitely want to sort of make a. You don't want to do you don't want to you want to make take a defensive guy out and an offensive guy in, so you're showing that initiative and that impetus, and that was definitely not done, I think, in this scenario by taking out Diaby for Ljajic, because then you're sort of shifting things around. I think it was Kevin Prince Boateng who went to the wing, right?
I believe so. Yep.
So again, I don't think that
he played a more narrow.
Yeah, more of like an inside
style.
Forward.
We lost the pace.
An interior forward, inside forward, whatever that is. But yeah, I don't think that's the move. And I don't think it's enough of a reaction. If you're going to wait that long, I think you want to put two guys on and give them instructions for different parts of the team, different phases of the team to tell them what to do differently, how you're reacting. Especially because I think Sergen Yalchin is tactical and kind of clever enough to be making those transitions mid-game, or it seemed as that way, but whatever. In the 72nd minute, Elia came out of the match for
Azubuike
Okechukwu. Yeah, thank you for that. I was sort of trying to process how I was going to say that name. But yeah, I think I said I wanted us to sign. Yeah, I did too, actually. Yeah. But yeah, 75th minute, as I'd already said, Tyler Boyd came into the match for Nkudu. Weird. Again, I think.
Yeah.
In the 69th minute, you probably put Boyd in for Diaby, and you put in Ljajic for I.B.B.
Yeah, probably. But
so to sort of spread it out over the two different subs and not be as decisive and whatever. Wrong move in my opinion. And that means that I.B.B stays out there and kind of continues to make those small errors all the way to the end of the match, unfortunately.
Especially as we needed a goal, so maybe having two defensive midfielders on, especially with El Neni not wanting to even take a risk and I.B.B not being on his day, one of them probably should have came off. But
absolutely, yeah, for sure. 81st minute, just 6 minutes later, so kind of little 6-minute chunks there or something similar to that. Umut Nair came on for Burak Yilmaz. What did you think about that move?
It's worked out sometimes. Umut's that type of player where you don't know what to do. Just throw him on and it might work. Hasn't worked for a while, but
yeah, I actually get it now that I think about it. And Burak, as I said, had played really poorly all match.
Yeah, and Guven's not in any form to play. So.
Yeah, but
those were our two offensive subs: was Guven or Umut, or maybe if you want to put Kartal Khaira Yilmaz. Everyone else was defensive after that. So.
Yeah, and this is clearly the hole in the team, and that's the thing, is you don't really have someone who can say this guy on the bench, we know we can get a goal out of him, if Umut Nair is the guy you're going to for that, it's going to be a tough season, as it has been. Your friend Kaveji came out of the match for Barış. Tyler Boyd got himself a yellow. Epuriano got himself a yellow. There was a lot of that back and forth.
Carlos
Ponk came in for Visca in the 4th minute of extra time. There would just be 5 minutes of extra time, however. And that's it. The match ended 1-0. Başakşehir, the winner. I guess, before we do stats, final thoughts, Evran. What did what events were not kind of, in the timeline itself that
Yeah, I know, like, although we lost, and I think maybe Sergen has some of the criticism maybe with his subs, I think the way he set out the team was good, and I think we definitely showed a lot more ability to progress the ball from the defensive third to the midfield third, which under Avcı we were completely incapable of doing. And we did create more chances, or at least get the ball into the final third more. Just the passing was off, the finishing was off, and then defensively we didn't really give up too many chances. So theoretically, the game plan was fine, but just the individual mistakes really,
and the lack
I think, cost
of
the team.
And the lack of a finisher, probably. Too,
Yeah.
right?
So I mean, maybe he could have done better with his subs, but overall, I think we did play better than we had under Avcı, and I think there were positives to take from the game.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, it was like, you know, you start to question if the players are the right.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those scenarios where you start to wonder if anyone could really do any better. Especially, like, this is a particularly rough one insofar as, like, you get a decent performance out of Diaby even, right, which has been a kind of sore point for a lot of people. And the person that kind of lets you down is I.B.B, who is probably the one person you could probably never expect to let you down in a match. So in a way that's makes it even the more clear that it's definitely not a Sergen issue. They just scored a goal on a kind of freak counter. I will say that a theme that has to be noted is that Victor Ruiz has flashes of brilliance defensively, but also kind of painfully, almost cartoonishly slow reactions at times that can lead to problems. To his defense, on the other hand, I think we could probably put the amount of matches he started on one or at least maybe two hands because of all the injuries and suspensions and everything and the late transfer and all of that. So he could very likely still be settling. Like, he hasn't had many games consecutively, to be sure. That's just something that I think has to be noted. But yeah, any other final points before we move on to the stats?
No.
All right, well, let's do it. The stats. Shots. 19 from Beşiktaş to their 6. 7 on target to their 3. Possession, 66% to their 34%. So, I mean, of course, they're down a goal for like 40 minutes of this match, which explains that to some extent. But even in the first half, I think possession was even more in our favor at some point. Beşiktaş dominated.
I will note, out of all those stats that show that we played better, Başakşehir won more individual duels than we did. They completed, they had more successful tackles, more interceptions, more dribbles attempted.
See, this is why you're an advanced stat guy.
Yeah, because I don't have all the advanced stats, but usually, typically, when you have 30% possession, you shouldn't be winning more duels.
Yeah.
Typically. So I think it just kind of shows that individually the team, Beşiktaş as a squad, were set up well, but didn't execute where it counted. And the coach can't dribble the ball for them. The coach can't, tackle for them. He can only just set them up to play in the right way, which I think overall he did, Sergen. So I can't be too mad at him.
I will say also that you're putting essentially I.B.B and Elneny against Mahmut and İrfan Kahveci. I.B.B and Elneny have obviously gotten a bunch of playing time together this season, but İrfan Kahveci and Mahmut Tekdemir have been a tandem for quite a while now. They're a real formidable and physical duo. That's, I think in a way the exact opposite of what you want those Archu guys to be coming up against, especially I.B.B getting older. Also just kind of being not necessarily the strongest player, although he compensates that with his intelligence often. But so I think, yeah, I mean, Irfan Kaveci, I think he heard his footsteps for most of the match. It seemed like with his passes on this way. But anyway, just to interesting side note, speaking of, it's a good segue, possession or the passes, Beşiktaş completed 568 passes to Başakşehir's 298. Accuracy 84% to their 69%. You know, you'd think that should be okay, but actually to have less than 600 passes completed in a match where you're dominating possession, I think it speaks to what you said, that even if we were completing passes, then we were kind of getting bodied off the ball often. I mean, I wonder if you have any advanced stats to contribute in that regard.
No, unfortunately, I don't have the usual guy I get the stats from didn't post for this game, but
Bummer.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's not a good look, I would argue. Fouls committed, Başakşehir had 14.
I can tell you El Neni completed 98 passes and only had one key pass.
Yeah, it's not that's not sexy.
It's an interesting ratio.
14 fouls committed by Başakşehir to Beşiktaş's 11, but 3 yellow cards apiece. 4 offsides by Başakşehir, only 1 for Beşiktaş, which really speaks to how, you know, despite the 19 shots and 7 on target, they were really, I think, not particularly threatening ones. And, you know, just 1 offside. I think you could feel that. There wasn't a whole lot of momentum going forward. We weren't bringing it in that regard. Corners, we did have 5 corners. There's 0, which, again, I think all that possession up there, it led to corners, but not much else, sadly. Yeah, I think that's about all we have to say for this match. That's the stats. We've talked about the major events, and of course, it's a very disappointing result.
Yeah.
Boo. Terrible.
We're now 6 points from 4th place. Sivas.
Yeah, so let's talk
and
about
then we
the
play
table.
the leaders, Trabzon.
So, up in first, with a game in hand still, is Trabzon.
Yeah.
So they could have 47 points, being 11 points ahead of Beşiktaş, if they beat, of course, Beşiktaş. When is their replay going to be? Do you know?
I'm not sure if it's been scheduled yet. I know they have to play Malatya.
It was because of the earthquake?
Yeah. But I don't see it on my scores yet, but I don't know if it has been rescheduled or not by the TFF.
So anyway, yeah, it really, in a way...
I'm imagining they'll wait till they get knocked out of the Europa League to schedule the game, but...
well, which, you know,
no, that's
enough.
never mind. Trabzon's already knocked out. I'm thinking of Başakşehir. But,
and they're in,
yeah, I don't know when they'll...
They're in the Champions League, aren't they?
No. Next year, but not.
I'm talking about Başakşehir.
No, yeah, Başakşehir is playing Lisbon in the Europa League.
Really? I thought...
Yeah.
Weren't they in the group with Roma, and didn't they get through in the very end?
Yeah, that was the Europa League.
Oh, shit. I thought someone said in the Champions League, whatever.
No.
That's more logical, at least. All right, where were we?
Trabzon.
The table, yeah. So anyway, in a way, I think that puts more pressure on this match upcoming with Beşiktaş, because not knowing that result, you know, if we lose this match, that kind of cements that 11, and then it could even be 14. So yeah, it's really not looking too good for Beşiktaş right now, especially relative to Trabzon. But so yeah, this upcoming match against Trabzon is really going to be decisive for us, certainly, and for them too.
Got a sold-out crowd for the game, so
you'd imagine.
I think that's probably the first one all season.
You'd imagine for Trabzon, it's a pretty big deal. Like they could.
Yeah.
If they win this, I think they come out of this favorites for the league, realistically.
Yeah, for sure.
But so in second place is Başakşehir, who just defeated us. Now they have 43 points, and they do not have a game in hand. So they are definitively 7 points ahead of us now. That's not a good
They
look.
already beat Fenerbahce and Sivas this half of the season, so
And that's really like
kind of the two big games, the title race. So we'll see. This is probably for them another title decider, and for us it's a can we get back into the mix of things? Otherwise, we're kind of back into mid-table, to be honest.
And like it, we're pretty much down to the last quarter. We only have 12 matches left for this season, so
it's a distinct possibility we don't qualify for Europe at this point. So,
and I mean, so we'll get to that part of the table, but certainly we're not catching Başakşehir here. It looks like 7 points ahead of us. They're doing well. They're happy. They're very happy to have won. Galatasaray is now in third. They have 42 points. Therefore, are 6 points ahead of us. Sivas in fourth, also with 42 points. Alanya is in fifth with 39 points. Now we're talking. Right, we're only 3 points back on them. Fener is in sixth with 38 points, 2 points ahead of us. So there we lie. Göztepe is actually right behind us, and they also have a game in hand, so they could be equal on points with us. So we could be as low as 8th place in theory if they shellac someone. But yeah, man, this is not looking pretty. As you say, we are 6 points behind 4th place and the last place in Europe at the moment. It deserves to be said that, of course, typically in Turkey, that 5th place spot is the last place in Europe because one of those teams wins the Europa League. No, the Turkish Cup. Now this year, Alanya, Fener, Trabzon. No, not Fener. Who's still in the Turkish Cup? Trabzon, Alanya. Who?
I believe Fener is still in it.
Is it Trabzon, Alanya, Fener, and Sivas?
Antalya.
Antalya?
Sivas lost to Antalya, yeah.
Ay. That's no good. Because they're not.
It's Trabzon, Fener on one semifinal, and Antalya, Alanya in the other semifinal.
Yeah, let's see.
Trabzon's been destroyed Erzurum 9-1, so.
So I guess the good news is Trabzon and Fener, one of them is out because they're gonna have to. Someone's gonna have to win there. We hope Trabzon wins because they're the only team that's clearly gonna be in the top. You know what I mean? Like,
if we're looking for a 5th place, yes, that would.
Ideally, Trabzon wins the Turkish Cup because we know they're gonna finish ahead of us in the table. God, I hate that we have to play these games now, these little mathematical equations to try to figure out how we can get anything out of a season. But alas, here we are. But so yeah, this Saturday, February 22nd, very soon, at noon here in New York City, which I believe is 6 in Central Europe, maybe 7 or 8 in Turkey. Whatever.
Something like that.
Check your local listings. Never just listen to us because we have no idea what we're talking about typically. But yeah, so this is going to be a huge match. As of now, this is the biggest match of the season. Sergen Yalçın has obviously now been tested. This is the big stretch here. We said it going into it. It was going to be Başakşehir here on the road.
We have Alanya, Ankaragücü, then Gala. That was the next.
Alanya, there it was. Alanya also tough. That's these 3 matches are the sort of major test for Sergen Yalçın, like real competition in a row. It's going to come fast and furious. If we get no points,
3 of our next 4 games are against our European contenders, Trabzon, Alanya, and Gala. So.
Yeah. And I'm going to go in between there or whatever. But so, just the point being that he now has like 3 stretches, a 3-match stretch of really tough opponents. He's 0 for 1 now, so that's not ideal. You really want him to get some points out of these matches so that he comes out of this with a little bit of confidence, especially going into them, the Galatasaray Derby, which is a few weeks in advance. But yeah, Evran, take us out pretty much. Final thoughts on everything, but specifically about Trabzon and what you're hoping for in that regard.
Well, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. There's definitely reason to be concerned But I think there is definitely a chance that we might come out with a full crowd for the first. Probably some of these players have never actually even played in front of a full crowd for us, which is sort of depressing.
And for a guy like Boateng, who's just arrived,
yeah, for a Boateng or even El Neni and Kudu Diallo probably have not played in front of a full crowd yet. But hopefully the fans really come out and Sergen keeps consistent with a good game plan, and hopefully we take the game to Trabzon. I think if we let them take the game to us, I don't have faith in our abilities to just park the bus against Storloth and all those guys who are in form. So hopefully we take the game to them, show some spirit, show some courage, and they just do their thing. Because right now it's looking a little. The players don't look like they believe in themselves. So that's why I usually don't opt for like courage and those type of words. But right now the players don't really look like they believe in themselves, which is. All the tactics can be fine, but if the players don't think they can do it, then
for nothing. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't think there's much to add to that, other than the fact that it's important that we turn this thing around. I think it's now imperative that we get a point out of this Trabzon match, especially since we got nothing out of the last one. So it's not going to be easy, and we it's not like even getting a point is even likely. So best of luck to everyone involved. And yeah, let's take it out, man. Follow us, I guess. Let's talk about Twitter. Follow the mothership, the provider of all things Beşiktaş International, at Beşiktaş_INT. Follow this here podcast at Eagles_podcast. Follow our man Evran over here at fan of BJK. Tell him to go for more of an adult Twitter handle. Follow myself at Sir_Writes_a lot, because that's clearly the height of maturity. Yeah, and besides that, of course, it's very important that we say this one. If I don't say this, then there's no hope. Go Beşiktaş! Go Beşiktaş! And yeah, stay tuned, of course. Hopefully we'll have better days ahead, but either way, we'll be here to report on it, and to talk about it, and to analyze it. Yeah, well, for more episodes.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.